Welcome all to Off the Cuff with Namrita. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend and a great morning. And joining me today is a man with a beautiful mind, I'll say. His name is Devashish Sarkar, a tutor in the San Francisco Bay Area, an alumnus of Columbia University, and the former CEO of BBC Worldwide Media. Most recently, he's the author of a new book, Storied Minds, Transforming Education for the Neurodiverse Through Narrative Therapy. So very warm welcome, Devashish, to Off the Cuff.
Good morning, Namrita. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for this opportunity.
My pleasure. I've been listening to your, book on Audibles, and I have to say congratulations first of all for getting this book out.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I also want to, since it's that time of the year, may I wish you a very happy New Year and your audience also a very happy New Year.
Thank you, and same to you. So tell me about this career change from a CEO of BBC, Worldwide Media. You became a tutor, and now you've written this book for neurodiverse children. A little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm in the same profession as you.
Okay.
I'm a fellow media professional like you, and as you know, media is essentially about narratives and the power of narrative, and that's what drew me to narrative therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching is my other passion, so I've been teaching for several years now, and I found about a few years ago I started finding that when it came to children and adolescents who had ADHD or were on the neurodiversity spectrum, I found that using narrative therapy was very beneficial when it came to actually improving academic outcomes.
Okay.
So I started doing more and more of that, and I kept notes of what I was doing, and a friend of mine who's with the National Academy of Sciences in Washington, D.C., someone who I worked with earlier. She is someone whom I really respect. One day she said that, what are you going to do with all these notes? Have you ever thought about actually putting it all together in a book? So I decided to sit down and actually convert it into a book.
Okay.
And that's what led to this.
Wonderful. So briefly, what is narrative therapy? Because it's a vast, field, and like for ADHD, like you say, your kids also, sometimes you don't even know that you have it, and it's very hard to diagnose. So that area is kind of blurred for many people. So a little bit of explanation on narrative therapy.
Certainly. So the power of narrative therapy is actually ancient, because as you would know, we are the stories that we tell about ourselves. That's what we are as human beings.
Very true.
And narrative therapy has very ancient roots in education. In fact, since we are both Indians, you will be familiar with the Panchatantra.
Yes.
The Panchatantra was written almost 2,000 years ago. And what was the Panchatantra written for? It was written to actually educate young princes in how to become better rulers when they became kings themselves.
Yeah.
That was the original idea of the Panchatantra. And of course it became a classic in world literature because it was so beautifully done. So what the Panchatantra does is it actually uses stories to educate young children about what is important, fables, morals, lessons in life. Just as an aside, every foreigner, right from the time of ancient times, whether it was the Persians or the Chinese, when they first came to India, the first book that they translated was the Panchatantra. Because it is so powerful.
Yeah.
The Panchatantra has traveled to every part.
I think everybody has read that, right?
The Aesop's fables are based on those,
yeah.
and thousands of years later, the frame narrative, which is used in Panchatantra, where one story leads to another story, which leads to a third story. This was used by Geoffrey Chaucer in the Canterbury Tales. It's been used in the Arabian Nights. So the mother source is actually narrative, and it was the narrative therapy, which is that part of the Panchatantra is something which I personally found fascinating. When I mention this to my students, they also actually really like it. The realistic, practical benefits of using narrative therapy to help, say, a child, help an adolescent who has ADHD, is that you externalize the problem.
Okay.
So if I am struggling with attention deficit when it comes to learning trigonometry,
Okay.
then the way this problem is handled in today's society is that, or mishandled, the way this is mishandled is that very soon the adolescent who has ADHD starts feeling that he is the problem.
Internalizing it.
So, and that is very tough, that is very difficult. So what narrative therapy does is it externalizes it.
Okay.
You are separate from your problem. If there is attention deficit, then that's a problem that we are going to deal with separately. It's external to you.
Yeah.
That's one rung. The second rung is that we concentrate on positive outcomes. So that part of you which is very successful in another field. Many ADHD children tend to be very creative. And
in a different.
yeah. So we bring that into solving these problems.
Okay.
The third part, which I actually find extremely powerful, and this is something that I've been experimenting with myself, is that I take the externalization to another level entirely.
Okay.
Many of my students are young. So what I do is that I say that, okay, it's not you who's facing this trigonometry problem. Let us imagine that it is your friend. Let's call him Harry Potter. It's your friend Harry Potter who is facing this trigonometry problem. Now can you help your friend Harry Potter to actually understand this and solve this problem? And that makes it so much more interesting to that student. And in the process of solving the problem for their imaginary friend Harry Potter, they themselves become very good at it.
Yeah, I was hearing it in your book. There was, I think, a child in preschool who wasn't sharing, the toys and stuff. So I think he was told to read a story about a greedy monster or something.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very different way. And it starts at an early age, like if you're saying, okay, even in preschools, so many school districts can start to, apply narrative therapy. But the thing is that it has to be repetitive. A story that you're building around a person for him or her to change. Family has to come in. Again, we live in a world, it's culturally diverse. So there are a lot of other things that also have to be studied. And so what do you have to say about the application of narrative therapy? How effective is it for anyone actually?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
In fact, there are, to my mind, and experience, if an adolescent, let's say a 13-year-old, 14-year-old has been diagnosed with ADHD, then you require three institutions of people working together.
Okay.
One is the therapist.
Okay.
That's an important foundation block because they have the experience to actually handle the psychological aspects of it.
Okay.
The second is the teacher. Without that, you can't really, improve in the classroom.
Yeah.
And the third, to my mind, which is what you're alluding to, which is the most important, is the family unit. Because without the parents actually creating the situation, or even the older siblings, or even the younger siblings, creating a situation where narrative therapy actually becomes normalized, this is not going to work. So it requires this tripartite alliance. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So, well, I can understand that it's not easy.
Yeah.
In the end, we are dealing with human minds, and we all are going through our own struggles in certain ways. So it has to be definitely a unified effort, I have to say, to make narrative therapy work in certain ways. And another question which I was reading, people questioned about narrative therapy was that it's hard to measure it, quantitatively. What is the effect of it? If somebody needs immediate attention, again, it's hard because it's a slow process. You have to work with the mind of the person. And so, what do you have to say about that? And any effective way in which families can help? Any example you can give for that?
Yeah, so in fact, I found that there is a silent, unrecognized victim of ADHD in our society, which is, it's not the child or the adolescent, it's actually the parent.
Oh.
The parent is coping with tremendous pressure because of the ADHD child. They face, there is a certain amount of social stigma, then there's peer pressure, and then there is the stress of actually handling a child who's got ADHD.
It's not easy, yes.
And there's no break from this, and you cannot, you cannot give way to your own emotions because you have to be there for the child also. It requires tremendous amounts of patience and loving attention. And in this particular case, what I have found works is that I do narrative therapy with the parents as well.
Oh.
I don't do it in a formal way, but I give them techniques where they can construct their own narratives.
Okay.
And this actually helps the family to do it together.
Okay.
In fact, one of the things that I think I mentioned in my book is that the families who do narrative therapy the best also keep narrative journals, family journals, which they make daily entries into. And that becomes almost a testament to how far the family is progressing.
Oh, okay.
In terms of the other part of your question, in terms of actual showing results, a lot of this actually is measurable and quantifiable.
Okay.
And we do that.
Okay.
It's just that the science is still young.
Yeah.
It's still emerging.
Okay.
So it's not yet formalized.
Oh.
But I do believe over the next 5-6 years, it will become and universally adopted.
That would be lovely.
Yeah, because we need that. Otherwise, how will we show the benefits?
And anyway, when you're dealing with anything to do with psychology or psychotherapy, it is hard to have a quantitative, value to it. It's different for each person, and what are you basing it on? What are the variables? If people want to apply it in an education, environment, academic environment, then it'll be great if you can quantify it.
I agree with you.
Yes.
It is complicated, and what doesn't make things any easier, I think we were mentioning earlier, is that in the US at least, there is only one school psychologist for every 1,065 kids.
Oh.
This system is not meant to deliver success.
Yes.
And as it is, the psychiatric practice system in this country is just so outdated.
Yes.
You get help when the psychiatrist has time, not when you need it.
Yeah.
So, for the entire country, there are only 60,000 psychiatrists. It's a country of 330 million. So, a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, I've gone through it, and being a parent and seeing the kids go through, a public school system. It's not seen how it is. It's difficult, and you are trying to bridge the systemic gap between, I'll say, education system also, because there'll be some people with money who can go to the best of schools and get one-on-one, time with the therapist or the teacher. But for so many and most of the kids, they don't have these facilities, and it's kind of sad, like you're saying. So many thousands of kids to one therapist. It's appalling to even hear. And we are living in this fast-paced technology now, and the young kids are feeling the pressure. We see the depression rates go up in so many, or early diagnosis of autism, and so many other things. So, do you think technology will help in this kind of an environment?
No, in
future
fact,
of narrative therapy.
Absolutely. In fact, well, first of all, I truly appreciate that in the heart of Silicon Valley, someone like you is actually devoting time to this. I just love that, and I'm very grateful. And I think there'll be many others, I hope, who will come forward and share their views.
I
with
hope
you.
so too. Yes.
Because there are so many aspects of the new AI revolution.
Yes.
Which are going to help in psychiatry, and I do believe that I have a daughter myself. She's 21. She's squarely in the middle of what we call Gen Z.
Okay.
I do believe that people like her and those who are younger than her, as they get older, they are going to be more and more reliant on apps and on technology rather than other human beings when it comes to things like seeking help, companionship, mental support. The day is not far when high schoolers in this country will actually turn to their phones for AI-generated help when it comes to emotional needs. And they will go to a human psychiatrist only if the app is not working for some reason. That day is not far.
Yeah, I can foresee it too. Like you have apps for meditation and calming so it's a step forward, and But will AI be ready to give kind of I hope it does. It will evolve. We all are hoping.
That's a great question.
Oh my God. And that is so true. And we coming from a generation of radios to this, it's kind of hard to handle all this, what's happening. We lived with at the time when radio was discovered. Anyway, but
here we are back. We're doing radio right now.
Imagine. See, we are still, so radio is still relevant, I'll say. But I also read somewhere that, especially with the younger ones, they are using social media platforms or digital media to also do narrative therapy, put their narrative across.
Yes.
And open up. So, what do you think? Is it a good idea, to use social media as a, narrative therapy platform?
So, no, that's a great question, and I think it's partly philosophical as well. In my work with young people, I find, of course, every student is different.
Okay.
But there is one thing that cuts right across. The one thing that all of them have in common from the age of, say, 16 to the age of 21. Young Americans of all backgrounds, they're all, Namrita, seeking a connection with something deep. And in many cases, they are not finding that within their existing, education system or their social circles. And when they don't find that, they actually start looking in worlds which are in the worlds of gaming, in the worlds of digital escape.
Yes.
I'm saying that this is a natural human sort of inclination. We're always looking for connection with something bigger and deeper. There is a beautiful world of stories and storytelling, which is at the heart of how we transmit values from one generation to another. And I think narrative therapy belongs squarely in that.
Yeah, that's a great answer and good to know, why kids are doing what they're doing. And I do feel that, not just kids, even adults are kind of losing it so many times because
Yes.
there's so many stimulations and, just hearing Rajneesh Osho, he was saying कि, बाहर देखोगे तो तुमको, you will never be satisfied. You have to look within because everything that lies is within you. So the happy point or whatever you're looking for, you will never be able to find outside because first of all it keeps changing and you need to find that balance within you. So, and I think that was pretty true, but that's a hard a point to reach. But any person, I have to say, leave alone youth who are so still getting impacted by their environment. So now coming to the end, what's ahead of you, and where can people find you on social media, or where can they get your book, Storied Minds?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the book is available on Amazon in all three versions. There's
Okay.
the paperback, the Audible, the one that you've listened to, as well as the Kindle.
Okay.
It has just been released, so it's been received positively,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
the people who are behind it are quite happy. I've also been encouraged to consider a second and third books.
Oh.
So one of the things as I was mentioning, I'm thinking of is writing something which is devoted almost exclusively to teaching math using narrative therapy for ADHD students. And parents especially are very, very keen because they see that that's something that they would really like. In addition to this, I've found that there are some teachers who are extremely interested in narrative therapy
Yes.
and adding a new syllabus entirely for this. Now that's the big work, that's a big assignment. So I'm not even sure whether I'm ready personally to get into that. That's several years' work. But at the moment, I want to get my word out to as many people as possible. And that's why I'm so grateful for this opportunity to come and be with you. And I'm looking forward to starting my next book.
Wonderful. Congratulations and all the best. We will look forward to the book, and like Devashish is saying, it's for anybody to read. Definitely, it gives them strategies. Be it a parent or an educator or a therapist, and I have to say it's thoroughly researched. There's a lot of material in it, so you will get a lot from his books. Go to Amazon, check out Storied Minds out there, and I think he is a person who is leveling the ground for neurodiverse children, because like we're saying, there is so little help from the government or anywhere to help them in certain ways, and narrative therapy is something which is so simple, can be done. It's all about positive thinking and externalizing, and not internalizing and thinking that you are a bad person or you are unfit or unable to do certain things. It's about just changing narratives, I'll say, around a person. And that's why I just hope each day, every day, just think when you speak to your children or to yourself, be kind and be gentle and be compassionate. So for me, I can only say that. And thank you, Devashish, for coming on to Off the Cuff. I think we have so much to talk about, but time just permits me to let you go for now. Thank you and appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Namrita. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.